Okay, we're talking the MACH architecture, Mach, of the Mach Alliance, and I was talking about caching. Yeah, it's not bad to blow away the cache periodically, just as part of system administration, and that should be automatic or semi-automatic. I tend to favor my automation with exception handling and having a human involved, such that you just don't allow the automation to run into gray goo. I'm going to call it gray goo. That's from nanotechnology. And if you don't know what gray goo is, they gotta have used it for a Hollywood movie by now. If not, get a hold of me and we'll write up a screenplay. Um, yeah. So in implementing this stuff, be careful of gray goo. And that's a good point for containment. Always try to have containment. Um, yeah, virtualization, tokenization. The virtual machine concept is just so incredibly huge. That would alleviate a lot of IT support by when the user's ready to use the app, fire up a VM, send it to their hypervisor and do its thing, and either once they've logged out or shut down or cybersecurity mechanism shuts it down, it's gone. No more services for hackers to play with. Cybersecurity, baby. You can't get to it if it ain't there. The trick is, if it isn't there, how are users going to use it? Start it up, fire it up, so to speak. Have fun, play with it, use it, and monitor the hell out of it. Lots of rights to log files. Now, that's a mechanism you want to put in your code. Of course, that would be part of just about any API. The difference between terse and verbose. I mean, you can send to an API terse and maybe even have a confidence or faith that, especially if it's a don't care, you launch it and um, you don't care, but you do care that it does what it does. Maybe the C stands for content based. I know paradigm wise, they're coming in from thinking about things more like content and documents, which is kind of strange because that's kind of a fatty way of doing it. Yeah, I remember the developers at Sun Systems, as they showed off their prototype, and kept apologizing for it being so slow and that they were going to optimize it. Um, Same client server, the ideal was have a thin client and do the processing on the server side. An extreme of that would be like X Windows. And what web technology did It went from the minimalist idea of having a thin client driven with an engine called a browser. But as time went on and companies looked for competitive advantage, um, you could the idea of a thick client came about. That is, you've got a lot of processing going on the client side. And what the developers at Sun Systems used to describe their produce, their code as, was a pudgy client. Yeah, what we had was a pudgy client. See, it was smoke and mirrors. The CEO wanted a web-based application, a web-based system. Thing is, this was 1998. And a lot of these programmers came from places like Microsoft. They didn't know how to do web-based stuff. Nobody did. The web started up in 95. So they did know ActiveX and C++, C Sharp, that kind of stuff. There was a guy that was nothing but Visual Basic. Um, but they didn't know how to do web applications, and I don't think they wanted to listen to me. So smoke and mirrors. They basically were making the client act like a web-based application, but it wasn't. Like to the degree that they spent 2 years and millions of dollars of precious venture capital to try to develop their own ActiveX controls, controls to do what they wanted to do on the interface to implement the what the product managers had given them, right? But the internet wasn't everywhere either at that time. I remember as a systems engineer sitting in one of the teams, and yeah, they pointed out to me I'd forgotten not everybody had internet. Their first product, Cypress, was for physical therapists, and they did release that, and we're making money with it. But a lot of physical therapists' offices at the time maybe had a modem to hook up to the internet, but you couldn't assume that they had a reliable or good internet connection. So that was kind of, oh, yeah, that's right. We kind of limited there. Nowadays, what is this, 25 years later, whatever, it's ubiquitous. And we talk about the IoT, and basically, if you don't at least connect up to the internet for a certain amount of time periodically, um, yeah, you can't participate in the system. So there you go. Hmm, hmm. Electricity. I want to own the means of production. Very interested in Tesla, not the cars. Tesla, the man, and his research and and plans. I've seen some very interesting things going on about energy. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't have time to look into all this stuff. I need people to go look into it for me and put it into the system, and then I know. And we know. Bounce.